Hello everybody, welcome back to the RuneScape Catalyst League daily relic reveals and teasers, and we're finally here. It's day 7 and they finally updated this image here on the blog, which has been blank for 6 days. I think they were supposed to be filling this in with one thing every day, but they finally updated this and we can see all the relics up to yesterday and of course today's. So yesterday we saw a choice between Barbarism and Bombardment, a melee relic versus a range relic. Very, very similar, but I feel like the melee one was a little bit better because the melee style itself is a little bit worse, because of the downsides, of course, of being in melee range. And also yesterday they added an FAQ section here to this blog post, which goes over a lot of frequently asked questions by you guys, the community, and it kind of reveals a little bit more how the league will work on a baseline level before taking into account our relics. So we'll go back and take a look at that, but first we're going to look at today's 2 relic choices. So the first one's going to be our magic-based relic for the league. It's going to be very similar to yesterday's, called Crit Happens. Obviously that is a pun because magic is largely dependent on critical strikes, specifically when you do get to that FSOA staff at the very end of the game. So as with yesterday, basic attacks with magic are going to generate 2 times adrenaline. Now someone mentioned in the comment it's weird that this says basic attacks and not basic abilities. Does this literally just mean auto attacks? I'm fairly sure this will mean basic abilities. Saying just basic attacks, that's not what they're called auto attacks. If it is that, that's awful and this is like useless for every style. But again, we get double adrenaline gain from magic basics, so obviously your standard abilities that aren't a threshold or an ulti, they're going to give you a baseline of 16% adrenaline each instead of 8%, so you're only going to have to use a little over 3 abilities from an empty adren bar before you can then cast a threshold. So obviously this is really, really nice for something like Mage. If you've put down your Sunshine ultimate, which is going to consume all your adren, but it's going to give you a big damage boost while you stand in it, then it's going to be less basic abilities needed while standing in that Sunshine before you can start firing out maybe other thresholds or ultis like an Omni Power or something. So that's really going to be nice for DPS. Same with the other 2 styles from yesterday, and most likely the same with Necro in a bit. Once again, we have 20% reduced cooldowns on magic abilities and special attacks. Ever so slightly not as good with Mage because you do have the Temporal Anomaly spell, but if you're not using that and you're using Darkness or Animate Dead instead, then that is really nice, because Temporal Anomaly obviously gives you a chance of fully resetting any ability you do use, and that is also the effect of the Twin Amascot wands as well. So with both of those, if you don't get the lucky proc of resetting a skill after you use it, then the cooldown will be 20% smaller, which is always nice. And of course, once again, we're getting the magic attacks have 100% hit chance. So with this, if we do take this and you mage anywhere that you can damage the boss with magic, you won't even have to think about elemental weaknesses, or you'll just have 100% hit chance always, so you'll always do your max damage, which is always really nice. Now, what's big about this one? The critical strike damage of magic spells is going to be increased by 50%. So what you're going to really have to do with this is stack up crit chance, which obviously makes a lot of sense. Getting the Biting 4 perk, of course, gives you 4% crit chance. You're going to need to kill Araxor, break down his weapons in order to get this perk. Or if you take the perk Mania Relic from a few days ago, it gives you unlimited of all the invention materials. Maybe you'll want to combine that here with the magic relic so you can get that crit chance on your sets. You'll probably, if you pick this relic, you'll be going to Virago because you'll want to get yourself some Tectonic or Elite Tectonic, because that of course has the best crit chance in the game. It's going to make crits with Mage very, very large, and it's also going to give you a 95% chance to save runes in combat. When you do get up to the point of using Exsanguinate or one of those other high tier spells from City of Sentiston that cost you like bloods and souls every attack, 95% chance to save those is really nice. This doesn't include alchemy spells or teleport spells or skilling spells, it's literally just the spells in combat. So maybe this will apply to things like vulnerability or entangle. So interesting. You're going to be picking this if you enjoy Mage, but it's not really going to increase your magic damage by all that much, to be honest, especially before you get best in slot gear. Early game, you're not going to have a lot of crit chance. If we take a look here, for example, at the magic skill guide in the game, if you're at 20 Mage, you'll have an additional 15% damage when you do a crit. It'll only be a 115% damage hit, but when you do get up to level 90 in Mage and get that top level of crit damage, then your crits are going to be doing 50% more damage, as you can see, which is a lot more relevant. So when you are late game, this is going to be stronger, and of course, once you've got those pieces of gear that have crit chance on them, you'll be able to do some group Virago if you can find people, get yourself some Tectonic or Elite Tectonic, then this is going to really take off. Get yourself to hard mode Kerapac, get that Staff of Armadil, you'll be a crit machine. So here we go, Soulbourne, the fourth and final of the combat relic choices. As you'd expect, necromancy-based attacks generate 2 times the adrenaline, ability cooldowns reduced by 20%, exactly the same as all the others, and attacks have 100% hit chance, of course, same again. So what we get with the bonuses for the necromancy one specifically, your spirits are 25% larger. I guess that's funny, but that's actually annoying because the game's already irritating when you're playing necromancy and you have 4 summons, which is the max amount of summons. They take up a lot of space on the screen already. There's no plugin like there is in old school where you can replace your thralls with see-through ones or change the model to a pet or something. They're just big blue ghosts all over your screen, and this is going to make them bigger. So I'm not a fan of this half of it, but they will do 25% more damage as well, which is cool, but necromancy spirits aren't a great deal of your damage in Necro. Having 25% more damage just on your necromancy summons, it's something, but it's not amazing. This one's got though 95% chance to save both ectoplasm and runes when casting abilities and incantations. You can summon yourself a ghost, a skeleton, a zombie, or a guardian. Now these spells normally cost 1 necroplasm each to make, and on an Iron Man you have to go make this yourself by performing rituals over in the necromancy area just to get this plasm stuff so you can play the game and do combat. The trade-off there, of course, is necromancy is hyper powerful. It has loads of utility, survivability, self-healing, good damage, so trading off using a vastly powerful combat style by just having to do some more rituals to maintain it kind of makes sense. But in a league where it's only going to last 8 weeks, we don't want to be doing chores just to be allowed to do combat. And also you're going to be saving your runes when using abilities and incantations, so things like your bone shield, for example, you'll be able to actually spend those extra runes and use greater bone shield instead of being in poverty like I am and just using lesser bone shield when I run around, and all the other spells that use materials like casting darkness every 12 minutes, things like that. It does say incantations, which technically in the game does include the necromancy teleports. I don't know when you'd ever use any of these though. All there is in here is the Ungale Telly, which takes you to the Vorkath Island, and the teleport to the city of but both of those are on the necromancy grimoire 4 from doing the City of diaries, and you don't ever really need to cast them as long as you've done your achievements. You also unlock all the abilities from the Necromancy Well of Souls talent tree. This one's actually really big. It's this well here next to this ritual site, and you get a bunch of talents. But the main problem with this is you have to get yourself 35,000 souls in this well, and that requires both level 90 necromancy and many, many hours of grinding rituals here at this ritual spot, which is obviously something you're not going to want to do in leagues because it does take like solid days, and I don't think any aspect of the league outside of this relic is going to accelerate our progress in necromancy rituals. So if you do want to go for quest cape, I'm a little bit worried that potentially the Soulbourne relic is almost essential, because you do have to progress that Well of Souls and the talent tree in order to do the later necromancy quests. Now those bosses will be unlocked by themselves at certain tiers of the league, because they've made it so a lot of the really high level quest rewards they're just going to give to everyone, so everyone doesn't just have to do quests. But if you are going to go for quest cape just for something to do, or to do tasks, or to get the big XP rewards for doing so, you're probably going to be parked here at the ritual site for a couple of days, even with the league boosts, which isn't really very fun, in my opinion, but might be something you'll enjoy. So those are our 4 choices. Of course, we had the 2 yesterday that are likely going to be up against this, so I think this will be a big tier of 4 combat choices. Now, where this is going to come in the tier of 7 tiers, I'm not sure. Tier 2, probably something like 5 Finger Discount, Golden Footed, maybe Farming Frenzy. In the past, if we take a look here at some images from old school RuneScape leagues, in Trailblazer 2020, we got teleport relics in tier 2, which we've yet to see here in the RS3 Catalyst League. Then tier 3 was our combat relics. If we go back to the most recent old school league, before we got the combat masteries, then tier 1 of course was the gathering tools, tier 2 was the teleports, tier 3 was Banker's Note versus Fire Sale, which isn't going to be the case because we can already see in this image that there are going to be 3 choices in tier 2 and 3 in our league, but tier 4 was the combat choices here. So this choice of 4 combat relics here in Catalyst League, I don't know where they're gonna go. I think most people have been saying for a while this is most likely going to be tier 5, and then just before that it's probably going to be agility and thieving, and then some point as well before that is probably going to be the teleport relics that we've yet to see, which will probably be a choice of 3, there might be a choice of 2. I do think these magic and necromancy ones are a little bit better than the ranged one, because they at least do offer you something. Like I say, the ranged one, the only real benefit of it, apart from saving ammo... Oh, hello, they've changed the ammo. Okay. The ammo yesterday on bombardment was a 50% chance to save ammo. It's now a 95% chance, so that's actually way better. You are actually going to be able to play the game now if you do pick ranged. The only thing I would say is the only bit of additional damage you get is splash damage, so this is going to be rubbish for single target bosses still, but that relic is now a lot better than we thought it would be yesterday because they've updated it, which is great. Also, unlocking the Well of Souls, I feel like this is very powerful whether you're going necromancy or not. Maybe you want the darkness spell, that's all the way up here at tier 6. Now this is a damage reduction spell you can cast on yourself while using any combat style. It lasts for 12 minutes and you have a 20% chance to dodge any incoming attack. Even if you're like doing melee or something, as long as you bring these runes with you, you can use this spell. But of course, if you pick melee, then you're going to have to grind this talent tree Well of Souls all the way up to tier 6, which is 8,500 vessel souls, which you get from doing rituals, and you have to get your necromancy to 80 already if you're not focusing on necromancy and you want darkness. Obviously, if you're using magic, you can get away with animate dead instead, but if you're using the other combat styles, darkness is still really nice. Maybe we won't need it in the league, maybe we'll be strong enough, but that's just a point to point out. I just really want to also today touch on the FAQ that got uploaded yesterday that I didn't mention. There's a lot of good information here about how the league's going to work in its entirety. You're going to start off in Lumbridge. The lodestones are going to be locked. Apart from the one in Lumbridge, you'll have to go around and unlock them yourself, which is good. Gives you reason to run around the world and explore. We're going to have the Wiki Sync plugin active, which is amazing. Basically, if you turn this on, it'll be an option in the game. It will send data from RuneScape to the RuneScape wiki, and then you can type your name in on the wiki on the page of tasks, and it will tell you what tasks you have done. You can set it to automatically tick those off or even hide them, and it also collates data from all the players who have this on, so it enables you to dynamically sort all the tasks you have left by how easy they are because of how many other players have already finished those tasks. So with this, it's going to make doing tasks and deciding what to do next super easy. If you're interested, there's already the full list of easy and medium tasks for the whole league. They're already up on the wiki now. See if there's anything you want to focus on doing early. You know, it's all the classics you'd expect with a few new ones. Quests are going to function interestingly in this league. Most of them are not going to be auto-completed, but there are going to be quest rewards that you do get from just playing through the game. For example, locations like Prifddinas and Menethos, boss fights like a Mascot, you're not going to have to do the quests that unlock those. They'll be unlocked predominantly through the Relic tier passive system. So when you do enough tasks to hit a certain level, you'll unlock access to cities and bosses and stuff, which is really, really cool. Here are some examples though. Area unlocks Prifddinas, Menethos, and the Dragon Forge from While Gothic Sleeps, where you break down stuff to make higher level armor like Masterwork. They'll be unlocked on creation, but you might still need skill levels to get there. So interestingly, Prifddinas is already unlocked, but you won't have the lodestone or any way to telly there. So if you can rush 60 agility, maybe you take the golden footed relic, you can go to Prif super early. Probably won't have the stats to do a lot of the activities there, but that is good to know. But yeah, you will be able to also run into Menethos and just go in through the door, activate the lodestone there, which will be really powerful because there's some super good activities in there. Things like Gate of Eladinis, Amaska, Vorkath, Zemeregal, and Raziel, these guys are also going to be auto-unlocked. They're all at the end of quite long quest lines normally in the game. Now Raziel's interesting. You actually don't get Raziel for free at all. Obviously you don't need to fill the well to get to him if you pick Necromancy, but even if you do pick Necromancy, you still have to complete every Necromancy quest. But you're probably not going to be fighting him too much if you're not picking the Necromancy style anyway, as all his drops are the best in slot Necromancy gear, and you can only damage him with Necromancy. So if you're a ranger, a major, or a meleeer, you'll probably be skipping Raziel anyway, unless there's a league task to kill him a couple of times. And then a bunch of really powerful passives for the game are going to be auto-unlocked. The spells from City of Sentiston, the Infernal Puzzle Box, so you're not actually going to need to do the Succession questline. You're also going to get Dive for free. The Ring of Vigor passive, which is normally from Extinction, that's also going to be free. You're not even going to need to buy a Ring of Vigor from Dungeoneering, which is cool. Ancient Curses is kind of weird. That's very powerful and could be like a cool goal to go for during the league, but you're not going to need to do Temple at Sentiston. You're not going to need to do Desert Treasure or the Lunar stuff or the Light Within stuff. I mean, a lot of this is making me wonder, like, exactly what are we going to be doing in the League? I mean, obviously we'll be chasing tasks, but there's so many quests you just don't need to do. But I feel like you're probably going to want to do them anyway, because a lot of them still unlock a lot of experience, which is going to be boosted on top of the quest XP anyway. You're not going to need to do smoking kills. You're going to immediately get full Slayer points, which is cool, but it doesn't say you're going to have the ability to make a Slayer helm without the quest anyway, so you will be doing smoking kills if you're planning to do any Slayer with any style. Archaeology shop is cool. You get access to all the tiers. You don't have to do the Guildmaster qualifications and stuff to be able to buy like the outfit or the best Matic. Really nice, whether you're taking the excavator or not. And also this one's one that stuck out to me, which is kind of interesting. Spirit trees are going to be completed instantly after choosing a specific relic. So this pretty much confirms the existence of the portable fairy ring spirit tree teleport relic option coming up soon. Pretty much confirms not only that relic, but also that we're going to get a teleport relic tier at all. Because I wasn't sure, because there's quite a lot of ways to teleport around in RS3 anyway. I thought they might just skip on that, but it seems like we are going to definitely get tele relics as well. Automatically, the following quests are going to be completed, which is kind of annoying because a lot of my early game planning included a lot of these. Like Restless Ghost takes a couple of minutes in Lumbridge and gives you like 2.5k prayer before multipliers, so not being able to do that and get like 20 prayer straight away is kind of annoying. Stolen Hearts is one of the ones, along with Diamond in the Rough and Jack of Spades, which unlocks Menaphos. So instead of just giving you Menaphos, they've just fully given you those 3 quests, so that's interesting. Catapult Construction, Regicide, Plague City, Plague's End, Morning's End 1, Morning's End 2, Underground Pass. So the whole Prif quest line is done, which that's cool, but again, that's a cool quest line to do. It's kind of fun and it has big XP rewards. So you're not even going to be able to do those quests? Obviously, most people don't like quests. There's no quest helper in this game, fair play. But, I mean, having the option to do them would have been nice. But you will be able to go to Prifdiness almost instantly if you do have the stats. Auras will not be available. I was wondering whether they'd just give us all the auras like Group Iron Men get, but the only auras in the game will be ones you can earn in-game, like those at War's Retreat. As you can see here, you can buy Vampirism, Dark Magic, Berserker, Reckless, and Maniacal. This one's mad. Shops are also going to have infinite stock. Now, shops already are unique stock to each player in RS3. One thing that's going to be absolutely insane, though, with shop stock, everyone's been saying it up to this point since they announced the Herblore/Farming Relic earlier, is that there is a shop that sells potions in this game. This guy here over on Mazcap, which you can just teleport to through the group interface very quickly. He sells every kind of super potion for every combat style, including necromancy. He also sells 3 super restores. Now these are expensive. They're a little bit cheaper on my game because I have the reputation finished. Otherwise they're about 10k each. But if you had access to infinite money, this shop would have infinite stock. So you could just come here, get any super potion you want for any style, as well as also unlimited super restores. So theoretically, you wouldn't have to do any herb lore to supply yourself for PVM. But obviously you're still going to want overloads over like a regular super strength, but certainly early to the mid-game, infinite super restores, providing you can afford them, is going to be pretty mad, especially if there's some form of infinite GP relic. And they're just clarifying here that XP from quests and D&Ds is going to also be multiplied, so things like doing the Guthixian caches for divination is going to go from being the best way to train divination to still being the best way to train divination. Maybe not if you take Divine Harvester at tier 1, but who's doing that, let's be honest. Pets are going to work the same as they do in old school. If you get a pet in this league, you'll have it next time there's an RS3 league on the same account. They will be adding a system where you can decide if you don't want to play your main on leagues, you still want to like play on your real Iron Man at the same time and keep progressing. Then what you can do is you can start a new account and you can nominate your main account as the account that's going to receive your rewards. So if you want to have just a new account just running the league while still progressing on your current RS3 account or even your old school account, then you can have the rewards sent from your league's account over to your main as if you played the league on your main, which is one of the reasons I think people burn out on leagues a lot. When they get a little bit into it, they start thinking, well, I've got stuff I need to do on my main account, so maybe I'll give this up. If you do want to bond up 2 accounts at once, you can play one just as like your little league slave. So that's a really good system and a really good way for Jagex to get people to sub on 2 accounts at once. So win-win there. You won't be able to augment the tier 1 relic tools, so there's not going to be like an augmented Animal Wrangler Harpoon or augmented Divine Gatherer Hatchet thing, but the effects of them will work if they're in your inventory. So you'll still be able to augment like the Pickaxe of Life and Death or whatever the best in slot one is in the real game, and just bring your relic one within your inventory and get the benefits of both. Enrage levels for different enrage bosses monsters is going to be automatically unlocked without having to kill them like 100 times and have the max enrage go up by 10. You're going to be able to go in at like 2k Zami or whatever the highest level is, which is really nice. And also what's absolutely huge is Dying Arrow content has been unblocked, so players can create them without needing to have completed Extinction, which was another downside about the range relic that we mentioned yesterday. Having to not only get 95 fletching to make the best in slot arrows in the game, but you also have to do one of the longest quest lines in the game. That's now no longer the case. You'll just need the fletching level, which should be really fast with things like Production Master, so that's really good for ranged. So a crazy amount of information today. We're getting critical strike focused mage spec, we're getting a Soulbourne necromancy spec, which doesn't give you too much, but the ectoplasm saving is going to make necromancy really passive, and you're not going to have to mess around with the Well of Souls. So this one's up there right now for me as the best choice, but I worry that a lot of players probably already use necro a lot in the real game anyway, me included, so picking this one's not going to feel the best if it does lock you out of your other styles feeling fun in the league. Obviously this is now up against the two from yesterday, the range one of course being buffed from yesterday, having 95% ammo save instead of 50, which is a lot better, and now we also don't need to do the Extinction quest to make God Arrows, which also makes this a lot more enticing. I think it's quite a difficult choice. I wanted to play Mage, so I had that one first in my mind of what I was going to pick, and it's fairly strong. You know, you do get some added damage and a big chance to save runes. I don't think there's that much interesting about this other than your number just goes up a bit. Necromancy, really, really strong if you have the ectoplasm to use it. This is going to mean you're always going to have the ectoplasm to use the style, but again, all you're getting really is 25% more damage with your spirits, which isn't even all of your damage. The main positive of this is just skipping doing the soul well, which if you don't skip, it's going to be a few days of grinding, which you're not going to want to do. Melee we already know is good, but then you're going to have to melee every boss, which isn't going to be fun in itself. And then ranged, while underwhelming, it's nice. You're going to be able to use God Arrows everywhere. That's going to be the main benefit, or, you know, the criminal bolts or whatever. The added bonus of the AoE is just not very good. So let me know if this has changed your decision from yesterday, guys, if you're going to be a Major or a Necromancer over a Ranger or a Meleeer, and if any of this FAQ stuff has changed how you're going to approach playing the League. I know it has for me, at least because some of the quests I plan to do are going to be auto-completed straight away. The XP multiplier is probably going to be high enough where this doesn't matter. We'll be able to just level up without doing quests. Anyway, that's all for today, guys. We're halfway through the League reveals, so I think we can pretty much assume there's going to be at least a Spirit Tree teleport relic, which means there's probably going to be a tier of teleport relics as well. I think a lot of people are hoping for the Clue Scroll Telly from the last League, which was the best teleport relic we've ever had. If it's that against just Fairy Rings and Spirit Trees remotely, you can already make invention tools that are remote access to Spirit Trees and Fairy Rings, so that's not particularly good in RuneScape 3. And hopefully we see more combat stuff. I'm hoping there's not just a single tier of combat choices and it's just these four. I hope there'll be some other choices a bit later, like in old school we had Executioner's Axe versus Guardian versus the special attack one. I hope there's more fun stuff for all styles that doesn't just lock you into one choice. But so far things are looking good, I think, in Catalyst Leagues, and I'll see you on the 15th.